Alrighty, hey everyone, welcome back to another crappy day in the markets and Bitcoin and miners and everything else. Boy, where do we begin? Where do we end? Well, we got quite a few things to cover today. So we have to talk about what happened with Bitcoin, the miners today, the PCE figures as well. What else do we have here? Mara, 2 billion ATM. We also have Galaxy Digital getting a nice deal from Coreweave. We have that. A little bit on X and XAI, a deal going on there as well. Yes, we have quite a few things. We're also going to take a look at how far the miners have come down from their highs today compared to Bitcoin. And yeah, we'll get into all that stuff. So it should be pretty packed. Oh, also, we're going to take a look at the miners as far as what is their current possible break-even point for where they are right now based on the quarterly results for Q4. I mean, we're almost done with Q1 as it is, so it's always going to be late on that data, but we'll get through it all, but we got to go through it. So non-financial advice for entertainment only. Do your own research, full disclosure below that. Hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out tremendously. And let's take a look at what's going on here with Bitcoin today. Bitcoin's down, well, it was down. It breached our 200 simple day moving average today, which we saw. It was down 3.25%, right? The PCE numbers came out, or PCI numbers came out today as well. That didn't do well for the market. They were higher than people were expecting. Markets crashed today. Bitcoin crashed. Miners crashed today because of it. We'll get into the data here in a second on that part of it. But we can see that Bitcoin is down 30% from the top to the bottom of it was 30%. It's down now like about 23%, 25%, something like that at the current mark where it's at. So it's still within that correction range where we've seen it before go down 30, 35%, even 38% at certain points. So we're still in that kind of correction phase on it, but man, the miners are getting beat down really, really bad. The good thing for today is we did fill that CME futures gap that we had here, which was from basically Monday. It was a very, very small gap, about $200, but that got definitely filled today. On that, so that hopefully bodes well for us going forward, right, on it. Hopefully, we'll see. Bitcoin still should be above the 200, is it 200? Yeah, it's still above the 50 simple day moving average on the weekly, so that's still looking pretty good there. So I think we're still in a correction phase. But like I said, the miners, MicroStrategy even, have definitely gotten beaten down here. MicroStrategy is down 57% from the top to the bottom, where it was back here in early March. It's now somewhere around like 50, 47%, something like that down from that top. So definitely not doing that great. Bitfarms had a rough day today, also was down 11% at 82 or 84 cents. It's down 75% from the top here where it was at 391. Right, pretty rough, very, very rough on that one. BitDeer is also down 66.5%, was down 7.86% from the top to the bottom here. Cypher was down 8.86. It's down 70.7% from the top to the bottom. I mean, we're looking at these kind of numbers. We're looking like a major bear market or in the miners like we've seen after bull runs and stuff like that. This is definitely nothing that we've seen in the past where the miners have gone down this far, this quickly, I guess you could say. With Bitcoin being down 30%, the miners are doing basically a 2x like they normally would do on it. So the miners are getting really, really beat up here and getting very, very cheap. And when will this end? I don't know. But Cleanspark was down 8.35% today, and it's down 61% from the top, which was 24.72 to the bottom here. CORZ, or actually from the top here where it was at 17, it's down that much from there. On that one, CORZ was down 5% today as well. From the top, it's down 63%. Hive was down 6.8%, and it's down 73% from the top here around 550, all the way down to $1.50 right now. HUD8 was down 5.94%. It's down 65.5% from the top to the bottom here. And then we got IREN being down 6%. It's down 62% from the top to the bottom. Mara down 8.58%. It's down 60% as well. Riot down 4.63%. It's down 54.5%. And then Wolf is down 7.17% today, but it's down 71% from the top where it reached like $9.03, and it's way down. So all the miners are hugely being beaten down here. And we've seen a lot of short interest on these guys as well. That I'm sure has some effect on it. I'm also sure that with Bitcoin coming down, that also has an effect, right? I mean, they're kind of playing the way we would normally expect Bitcoin miners to do. Bitcoin goes down to, certain number, and Bitcoin miners do usually 2x on it. But we normally would see that also with Bitcoin going up. We would see the miners do at least a 2x. So the only thing that I can say is hopefully when this all clears up within the next couple of weeks, couple of months, whatever it might be, and we get into third and fourth quarter of this year, things might pick up for us in that term. But right now, it's not looking great for us because of all this stuff. Also, we had, what was it? Coreweave went public today. It opened up not too badly today. Where did I put that one at? I don't have it here on this one, but it was up just like a less than 1%. It was up higher, then it came back down. It opened up on that. Let me see. I do have it here. Yeah. So it basically closed at $40. I think it opened up right around there as well. So not much gains on that one. What else do we have here? GameStop was down. Nvidia was down. Everybody was down. Tesla was down. We got some, not Tesla news, but some X news on it. And I don't have Galaxy in here, but we have a couple of stories to talk about here. So, it is a cluster F, if you want to say that, right now with the miners and Bitcoin, the markets in general. The markets aren't doing that bad. If we look at the Dow Jones, it's only, let me scroll that over. It's only down 10% from the top. The NASDAQ composite is only down 14.75%. And the S&P 500 is down 10%, right? So that's kind of correction territory for these guys as well. But they're starting to bounce a little bit here, but the economic data right now is not looking good, and I think that's the reason for it because, well, people are now thinking that we may not get the rate cuts from the Fed until, well, possibly later on this year. So that's why the market kind of tanked today a little bit. All right, but so far for the month of March, we're down 0.27% on Bitcoin. It's probably going to end up that way. But let's take a look at the PCE inflation numbers that we do have here. So the core personal consumption expenditures price index, a key Fed inflation measure, showed a 0.4% increase in February, putting the 12-month inflation rate at 2.8, both higher than expected. So that didn't help today at all. I thought it was going to actually be lower, but it actually came in a little higher. I think that's because of the tariffs and everything else. But here's what we have. The core personal consumption expenditure price index showed a 0.4 increase for the month, the biggest monthly gain since January of last year, 2024, putting the 12-month inflation rate at 2.8. Economists surveyed by Dow Jones had been looking for respective numbers of 0.3 and 2.7%. Core inflation excludes volatile food and energy prices and is generally considered a better indicator of long-term inflation trends on it. But here's a quote from somebody. It looks like a wait and see. Fed still has more waiting to do, said Ellen Zenter, chief economist strategist at Morgan Stanley. Wealth management, today's higher than expected inflation reading wasn't exceptionally hot, but it isn't going to speed up the Fed's timeline for cutting interest rates, especially given the uncertainty surrounding tariffs. So we got this quandary happening here. Fed would cut the probably interest rates if it wasn't for the tariffs, which the tariffs are then possibly impacting the inflation as well. So it's going to be tough to get through this. We'll see how things end up. I'm not too positive things are going to end up. Well, I think they will end up better in the long term. But right now, it's just going to be a mess going into the next couple of months, I think, especially once we get into the summer months as well. On that, we'll see where things come in at for the current month that we're just finishing up here, March, what this CPI data comes in as well, what that looks like. So we'll get some more data points next month on that. But this is what really drove the stock market and Bitcoin and miners, everything down today. But it's just been one bad news story after one bad news story has been driving Bitcoin and miners down here. Gold was up as well. So gold continues to go up though. Okay. Quick story here. Elon Musk said on Friday that he's combining two of his companies, XAI and X, into a single entity. In a post on X, Musk said XAI is the acquirer, valued at $80 billion in the deal, while X is valued at $30 billion. Musk acquired Twitter for $44 billion in 2022 and later changed the name to X. I'm not sure why he's doing it now. He could have waited a little bit longer, probably got a little bit better. Well, maybe he did it because it is still a pretty good deal there. Get it a little bit undervalued and then the value goes up on it. Do I have anything marked here? I don't. I think it's in, is it in this one? Nope, not in this one. But basically what they're going to do is combine all the assets and all of the talent there. And it should add more functionality to X, possibly down the road, right? He wants to make X a everything app, basically. We'll see when that's going to happen. I know that's one of his goals. And it'll be interesting to watch that play out over the next couple of years, I think, as they put more and more potentially things into X going forward. All right, so that's kind of interesting there that happened today. And then we have some news here on Coreweave and Galaxy Digital. So Galaxy Digital got a pretty nice deal with Coreweave here, and it is part of this one here. So Galaxy signs a 15-year lease agreement with Coreweave. Blockchain and digital assets company Galaxy Digital announced on Friday a 15-year lease agreement with AI hyperscaler Coreweave. This is the site that, what was it, Argo? Argo had this site. And they got into trouble, financial trouble. They ended up selling it to Galaxy Digital, and they got kicked out of Galaxy. They were mining there as, well, Argo was mining there as a host. Galaxy Digital was hosting Argo machines there. They kicked him out last year at the end of December, I think was like the end where they kicked him out. And at that point, Galaxy Digital said that they were looking to transition that facility into an HPC AI facility. So that's kind of a little bit of background on that. The Galaxy is set to deliver 133 megawatts of critical IT load, utilizing the 200 megawatts of gross power capacity to host CoreWeave's AI high-performance computing infrastructure at the former Helios Data Center campus in West Texas. And the Galaxy is contractually entitled to generate an estimated $4.5 billion in revenue over that time frame. And then Matthew Siegel here was on the conference call, it looks like. $4.5 billion total contract value, $2.26 million per megawatt per year, 11 to 13 million capex per megawatt. So that's going to be definitely quite a bit there that they're going to have to do that. But they're going to be making it basically a tier 3 N+1 data center, direct liquid cooling fiber to Dallas as well as part of it. But if we take that, let's just take the smaller amount, 11 million times the 200 megawatts, you're looking at, what does that put us at? 2.2 billion to retrofit, it looks like. That's a lot. So Galaxy's gonna be, so it looks like they're gonna be making about 2.2 billion on this roughly overall if they build out and spend that 2.2 billion. CapEx includes premiums for expedited equipment delivery to meet first half of 2026 timeline. PUE target 1.5, 90% EBITDA margins. Galaxy retains financing and on-site personnel. And then rest pass to tenant. 248 million expected revenue in year one. And then 80-20 debt to equity financing, 10-11% construction loan yield. Retrofit already underway. Unplugging A6 in Q2. ERCOT approved for 800 megawatt total, 1.7 gigawatts under study, remaining 600 megawatts under option to CoreWeave in 2 tranches. CapEx for future phases may fall. Greenfield higher track density, evolving specs, 433 megawatts delivered expected the first half of 2026. So that's actually pretty ambitious to get that done in a year. Right, we saw that also with Core and Coreweave. They were planning to get that done within a year as well, but things are being pushed out because of long lead items, things like that, approvals, construction, everything else like that. Interesting part is now for this year, last year we had Core and Coreweave deal, which was over what, 11 billion or something like that over a number of years, 11, 12 years, whatever it was. Now we have a Coreweave deal with Galaxy Digital for 4.5 billion. We have to look at the numbers with that would translate over from what Coreweave or Core is getting instead of Galaxy. Are they paying more? I would have to look into it, but I'm not sure exactly right now. But the interesting part, last year's Coreweave deal with Core was the best deal that any of the, you could say, miners have gotten out there. This year, this sets the bar for the best deal so far, right? We're only in Q1, yeah, so we still have 3 quarters to go, but we still have IREN, right, talking about getting some kind of HPCI deal. We got Cypher talking about it as well. We got possibly Riot. Mara's interested in that as well. We have also Bitfarms. Who else? Probably Hut 8 and others as well. There's a couple, maybe 1 or 2 more that I'm missing right now on that. So there's a lot that are still looking to get a deal, and Galaxy just came out of nowhere, right? So how many more deals will we see like this from Coreweave? I'm not sure, right? These are definitely a lot of deals, and I think it's going to have to be on somebody else. I think it's going to have to be like a Google or a Microsoft or an Amazon or Meta or somebody like that that would want to make that kind of a big deal. Or they may just try to buy the sites out themselves. I don't know. But the difference between Coreweave and some of the other guys like Microsoft, Amazon, and Google is also that they're I mean, you could say Coreweave is kind of asset light, right? They don't actually own any of the data centers. They're just basically renting them out, leasing them out. Whereas all the other guys have historically built and designed their data centers to meet their specs and whatever they need. So it's going to be interesting to see if we get any kind of great deals from Google, Microsoft, Amazon, all those others as well. Right now, we're not seeing it, but that might change. We'll have to wait and see. Let me see here. Functionality and CapEx back to yield product with AI upside. And then here's Matthew's two sats on it. Coreweave got better unit economics at CORZ, 1.4. Okay, yeah, see 1.44 million megawatts per year versus 2.26. Okay, so Coreweave gave him a better deal than Galaxy did, surprisingly. So it does seem like they're paying more here. For Galaxy looks to have structured a better deal for shareholders, higher margins, more revenue per megawatt, stronger control of CapEx, and long-term infrastructure ownership. Okay, so that is also interesting there. So this might be the better deal here, even though it's for less currently revenue, but definitely better numbers here. Okay, so he did the math on it. I didn't have to do the math on it. So there you go. That's excellent. And then, yeah, here's the deal as well. That was definitely interesting here. And the next one that we have here is on Mara. Mara came out today with a SEC filing of a $2 billion ATM at the market offering. The use of proceeds from that is going to be, we currently intend to use the net proceeds from this offering for general corporate purposes, including the acquisition of Bitcoin and for working capital. They got rid of some of the other ATMs that they had there. Those are done for. So that was good, at least. They got rid of those. But it's a $2 billion ATM. Right, maybe they have something planned that they're going to use that for, possibly buy Bitcoin, I'm guessing. It'll be just interesting to see how much they actually dilute going forward and when they actually dilute. Yeah, here's the having an aggregate offering price of up to $2 billion if they utilize all of the ATM on that. So my question is, when are they going to start pulling on it? Are they going to start pulling on it right now? Or are they going to wait a little while until the stock bounces back up a little bit? Or they could just pull on it now and buy Bitcoin as well, and maybe they have some other things up their sleeves that we're just not privy to right now. But yeah, I didn't see any press release on that. I just saw the SEC filing. So we'll have to wait and see what they do with it. I'm sure we're going to find out soon enough. If they're going to be buying Bitcoin, we'll see that next week possibly. But they still should have some cash left over to do that, possibly. We can take a look at them as well. But yeah, that is it. So we'll see. We'll see what they do. All right, let's get into the miners here really quick. As far as what is their break-even point right now. And the way I do this is basically I look at the Q4 results for the guys as far as what their electricity costs, what their overhead costs were, and I try to just look at cash costs basically. I try to take out anything that is more or less non-cash based. I try to take that out, and what I do then is look at also the operational percentage uptime for October, November, December, also your average hash rate, and figure out what was their cost to mine at that point, and then look forward to what it is right now, the last 2 months basically that we're in. So where's that cost come in at? So it could be off by a little bit, right? We could be off by 5-10% on it, depending on how everybody calculates and what they include, what they don't include. It's not always easy here. So this is just for reference, but this gives you at least a pretty good idea of where they might be at, right? It's not exact. So I also don't have HUT in here, right? HUT provided their numbers for Q4, but they use different business segments now. It makes it much more difficult to extrapolate the Bitcoin mining side of the business, unfortunately, because the prior 3 quarters were actually broken down into self-mining and things like that. Now they just lump it into one category, and it's like, okay, well, hard to figure out what they made there just on Bitcoin mining. So they're out on this chart here, but here's what we have here. So I looked at the quarterly expenses for all these guys, added it up. What was the I probably should have just taken this part out, what they were in dollars, because sometimes some of the prior ones were including it in Canadian dollars. So that's why I had that translated over to US dollars. Energy expense, same thing. And then I look at what is the monthly energy expense and regular expenses, overhead. BTC mined, right? Cost per energy per BTC. And sometimes these figures will include also like depreciation. So I do take that out later on down here. Also look at reported quarterly uptime. So I take the average of days that I calculated that they were mining at. and divide it by the number of days that were in that quarter, which was like 92 days of operational uptime. Divide that, so I get those figures there. Up 10% the last 3 months, so we're looking at, not October, we're looking at December, January, and February figures for them, just to get the latest data on them. Quarter average hash rate, that is for the prior quarter, Q4 numbers. And then we're looking at the current petahash that they have right now, or exahash, their electrical cost, Bitcoin being at 85,000 roughly, and the network hash rate being at around 800 exahash as it is. Okay, and then we got revenue post-halving, total expenses, stock-based compensation last quarter, take that out as well. And then we have total expenses minus SBC, break-even number at that point, and then with share-based compensation, without share-based compensation, what those numbers look like. So based on this, we can see right now, IREN, Cleanspark, Bitfarms, and Cypher look to be even profitable with stock-based compensation, not including depreciation, right? If we take stock-based compensation out of that, it looks like we have now Marathon and Riot included in that. Hive, Core, and BitDeer looks like they're actually losing money right now. And the reason I say that is because if we go up here to the actual chart on this, this is how things stack up based on my calculations currently as far as what's their break-even number as it is, right? So IREN came in really, really good. Their current break-even number is about 42,000 per Bitcoin. Next one in line is Cleanspark at 59,000 roughly. Bitfarms at 61,000. Bitfarms actually improved tremendously here, quarter over quarter when it comes to this stuff. Last time they were probably, I'm trying to think, I think they were like in the high 70s, low 80s. But they also had a one-time expense on the books there that increased the numbers. It was to pay off the prior CEO. So that came down, that lowered their numbers there. And then we got Cypher at 66, followed by Marathon at 75,000, Riot at 76,000, Hive at 85,000, Core at 85,000, and BitDeer at 88,000 right now, roughly, right? Give or take 5 or 10% up or down on this stuff. That's kind of where we're looking at as far as what their break even is, okay? So it's always interesting to take a look at this just to see where some of the better miners are right now and some of the other ones that need improvement, right? But BitDeer is going to be definitely growing a lot with their hash rate this year. That should improve over time for them, especially as they increase their hash rate, one. Two is getting to scale is another thing for them. It's what a lot of these guys have here. Core obviously is dealing with older generation miners, so that's the reason why their costs are kind of high right now. Hive, same thing. They've been upgrading their fleet, so that's actually a good thing, but their fleet is low, right? They're at, what, 5, 6 exahash, whatever it is. That's the reason for it. They need to definitely increase that, which they are going to be doing that this year, which I would expect their numbers to go down as well. That should get them, I don't know exactly where, but getting to 25 exahash by the end of the third quarter will tremendously help them going forward. Riot has, they curtail, but their operations have been getting better as well. Marathon, same thing, has operations have been getting better, but they also are, I think that now they are at 65% self-owned sites, and is it 55%? I can't remember. Maybe it's 55%. And then like 35 or 45% is still hosted with other third parties, which then you pay a little bit more for it. So if they can do more towards that, where they can be more on the self side of things, that should bring costs down also for them at that point. But yeah, this is kind of how it looks. So let me know what you guys think of all this stuff on it. And yeah, let's get into Q&A, and we'll call it a week. We'll call it a day. Let's get into a Q&A right now. And then always, I'll provide this stuff to the Patreon members tomorrow. It's late already now. It's almost 10:30. So I'll get that out to you guys tomorrow. So that's going to be all updated for it. And yeah, link for that is down in the description if you want to join. Right, so that is it. Okay, let's get into it all. Let's see what you guys have to say. As always, if you guys could preface the questions with a question mark or a Q, I would appreciate it. And the reason I'm doing this kind of late tonight is we had family over, kids were over, nieces and nephews were over. It was a rambunctious bunch, and there was no way I could have been recording this without a bunch of noise from upstairs, so I decided we'll do this a little bit later when everybody goes home. So that's why we're doing it. All right, what do we got here? Let's see. Trying to find a question here. Anon says, discuss Mawson's after-hours pump on results and on. Oh, so Mawson pumped on results. I didn't see that. I saw that the stock pumped. It was up like 50% at one point. I was like, what the heck is going on there? So is it based on results? Let me see here. Let me see if we can find that. I do have them. I think I still got them as one of the small miners to check on. Let me see. Nope, I don't have it. So let's see if I can find it really quick. Mawson press releases. Right, their site is taking forever to load. Mawson Infrastructure Group reports fiscal year. Okay, let's take a quick gander at it here. So 136% year-over-year revenue growth in digital co-location business, 42% year-over-year in energy management, 35%. What do they come up here? Digital co-location revenue increased to 38.5 million. Okay. Energy management revenue increased 42 to 7.6. Overall revenue increased 36%, 59.3 million. Overall gross profit increased 35% to 20.3 million. Company generated positive cash flows from operations and was net cash positive at the end of 24. Okay, so that's good. They're doing a nice turnaround. Mawson was one of those companies that I thought was going to be going under because they sold a site to Cleanspark. They weren't growing their hash rate. They were transitioning more into a hosting provider and things like that. So maybe that was the right path to do. And they're able to do it. Operating hash rate increased 31% to 4.9. Okay, so yeah, definitely helping out there. Okay, so yeah, that's interesting. We'll see how they do going forward. But at least they were able to stay afloat here, so that's good. All right, back to questions. Let's see. LP has a question. What the hell is going on with the miners? Are they in bear market? I mean, based on their performance here, from the tops to the bottoms, I mean, it definitely looks like they're in a bear market, right? Bitcoin's still in a correction phase, but the miners are just like you're in a bear market, yeah. Aaron, when will Bitfarms 10x? When Bitcoin starts going up, I mean, 10x from here might be even possible for them. If Bitcoin goes up to 200,000, 250,000, some are saying 444,000 by the end of the year still. If that happens, we can still get a 10x out of this one. If this one goes down to, in the next couple of days, weeks, if it goes down to like 50 cents, 10x might be possible. And then says the miners are already in bear market, will not come back anytime soon. Yeah, we need Bitcoin to go up. That's what's going to bring them out of this possibly. All right. Caprice said bought Bitfarms at 86 cents weekly. RSI was so insanely low. And any opinion on Mawson's result? Massive turnaround up. Yeah, just talked about that a little bit. All right. Why can't people understand BTC and the miners don't exist in vacuum? Macros, people, macros. Yeah. All right. Let's see. 10% down for the S&P and Dow's rookie numbers. I still remember 25-30% down when they announced COVID. Yeah. It's just a correction that we're in right now. Let's see here. What probability would you assign to BTC not reaching 150, 180,000 target due to tariffs, similar to how peaked at 69,000 last cycle due to China ban? I don't know. I mean, I'm still like 75% thinking that we're going to get to 150, 180,000 this year. And the reason for that is the adoption. The adoption is still happening like crazy out there. So that's the only reason why I think we still might get up there once everything cools off with the tariffs and everything else, once that gets strained out. All right. At what point do you sell miners and rotate capital to other BTC proxies? When we do get a run, MSDX, BitX, ETH will actually correlate to BTC price. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's definitely up to you guys. I'm still in the green a little bit on just overall performance, so I'm willing to wait it out a little bit longer. But at a certain point, I was looking at it today, I'm like, if it goes down much more, I may just go into cash, wait it out, see where it goes, and then plump the money back into it. Para says, I think your followers should consider rotating. Max pain would be BTC going to 250,000 miners, just going back to previous highs. If they go back to previous highs, that would be still pretty good. Well, depending when you bought in, right? For me, it'd be really good because I bought in much lower. So I would be happy. So it all depends on when you bought into these guys. All right. Para says also he personally sold all except Cleanspark and have capital ready to deploy to other BTC proxies. Nice. Very nice. All right. And it says, if you look at previous cycle, 2021, MicroStrategy had a second run on second peak, but no miners had a second peak. Miners peaked before first BTC peak. Actually, that's not true. Marathon had a second run afterwards. It actually did much better than the other miners did because of that. All right. Neville is saying, I'm definitely sitting by and watching the market, not jumping in because miners may not recover to the highs we thought when BTC goes back up. It's always a possibility. Let's see if we've got any questions here. LP, Sebastian, have you sold? I have not sold. No, I'm still holding on for a little bit longer at least. Neville says Bitfarms should survive a delisting event. Yeah, I mean, they have 180 days to get it above. Trying to see if there's a question. We got a bunch of comments here. Let's see. Bitfarms is my worst investment ever. Ben has been bad luck for us Bitfarms shareholders. It's also my worst investment right now as it is, and I got in pretty low too, or at least I thought I got in pretty low. So that one's definitely kicking my butt a little bit. But the good thing is I sold in profit 2/3 of it. So even if I take a loss on it right now where it's at, I still would be at least in profit overall. So that at least helps me out a little bit there. Let's see. The question, have you sold Bitfarms? I have not sold that yet, no. Sorry, I was trying to find these. All right, Para says, thanks for these updates. God bless and enjoy your weekend, bro. Thank you, you too, and thanks for coming in as always. Okay. Dave asks, is Ben Gagnon of Bitfarms resigning since he became CEO of Bitfarms? Everything turned into poop farms. I don't blame him just yet on all this stuff here. Right, he took over a pretty rough shape of a company. At that point, with all the stuff with the board, CEO leaving, suing the CEO, and then what else do we have? We had some FUD in there as well. There was a lot, right? So he's trying to turn the ship, right it the right way. I'm willing to give him a little bit more time to get that done. It's not going to happen over 2 quarters, 3 quarters. You're going to need a little bit more time on that, and I think he's going in the right direction. Gary has a question here. FASB saved a number of miners from losing money in Q4. Do you agree? Unless we get a huge 10,000 jump on Bitcoin price before month end, IREN will be only positive miner in Q1. IREN might be the only one positive. I know Cleanspark was saying that they should be able to be positive without the FASB impact for this quarter. We'll see if that's the case. Other than that, I don't know who else would be possibly positive. Let's see here. Dave asks, why is Bitfarms under investigation of corruption? That I don't know. I'll have to look into that. All right. Should I buy MicroStrategy and Jimmy and forget about the miners? I saw something where the volume of short increased on GameStop today, and the volume on shorts on MicroStrategy, or not MicroStrategy, it was actually Mara. By MicroStrategy, I mean, MicroStrategy hasn't done too bad. It was only down 50-some% down from 50. Yeah, it was 57% down from the top. It's now like 48, 52, something like that. It's done better than some of the miners have here, at least recently. When will XRP go to $10 per coin? That I don't know. I'm surprised it got up to where it's got up to, but I think it's because the lawsuits are done and over with, so it kind of bounced. But I just see absolutely no need for XRP. Plus, I don't like the fact that they are driven by a corporation, basically. I'm not a big fan of XRP. Hotwater has a question here. Seb, I don't get the value of Bitcoin right now when compared to miners. Miners get values like poop. BTC can't exist without miners. Is BTC overpriced? Do we miss something? BTC is not overpriced. BTC price is based on supply and demand, more or less, right? That's the value there. The value also is of store of value. You can store your value in a little, let's see if you can see that, in a little device, right, that you can take with you anywhere on the planet and have all your cash with you. That's the value there. And I just don't see, the miners, I mean, the miners were a proxy on Bitcoin, right? So Bitcoin's down 30% from the top, basically. Miners are double that. So they're kind of acting the same way that I would expect them to act. So that's working out. It's just now we need to see Bitcoin going up and the miners actually doing 2x going up as well. That's just kind of the way I look at it. All right, let's see. Dave has a question. Is tariff of U.S. good for Bitcoin? Are we going to blame Trump on what's happening on Bitcoin? Tariffs are never a good thing. Well, I shouldn't say never a good thing. They do keep some things out, but when they're done right, when you got to use a, what's it called? Not a stencil, it's a scalpel instead of a hatchet, right? When you're doing this type of stuff. And right now, we're not doing that. We're going with a hatchet on everybody and everybody else. So that is the uncertainty that the market does not like, because you get tariffs on, you get tariffs off, you get tariffs on. It's just like you get less tariffs and then you get more tariffs. There's no, there's really no, what's the word I'm looking for? Certainty in the market. You just can't plan on that. So that's why we are where we are right now. But yes, when do you plan to sell everything? Like I said, I'm still in the green a little bit here. I'm willing to wait it out. Looks like, to me, it still looks like Bitcoin's in a correction phase. Correction and accumulation phase. I don't think that we're completely done with. The miners, yeah, I paper-wise, definitely lost a lot from the tops where we were. But I do still believe that we're going to be going up. Maybe I'm wrong in that. I could be wrong, right? So take that with a grain of salt always. Begging says, I'm down 40%. I can't sell right now. In too deep. Would rather wait it out and sell at least when I break even. That's, I'm sure, how a lot of people are. I'm hoping to at least get a 2x or a 3x on this before I do sell out. So I'm kind of with you in there. Also, every stock right now is getting hammered too. Yeah, I agree with you there. Let's see, Andrea here. Seb, whales are buying and companies are planning to buy and government is buying and Bitcoin is crashing. Just got here. Your thoughts, please. Yeah, everything's crashing because uncertainty in the markets, right? Things that are happening out of our control. That's the reason why things are going down. Inflation is going up a little bit as well. And then I did see that the whales here, probably should have pulled that up for you guys as well, but I did see that today, that the whales are actually starting to accumulate after a number of months of selling. So that could be also a good thing here. All right. Hi, Seb. What are you planning to buy next? IREN seems most undervalued here. Thanks. IREN, Cleanspark, I would say Marathon, all these, pretty much everybody. They're all down 67%. So there's a lot you can get into here, but I'm not planning to buy anytime soon. I've talked to, maybe you missed it, but I've said this before. Recently, I have to pay out a lot more in taxes than I was planning to, so I have to hodl cash basically to do that, which is coming up here in basically 17 days. I got to pay a boatload. So, and then I got property taxes coming up, so I got to prepare for that as well. So it's gonna be a while before I start buying, possibly in the summertime. Let's see, question from Manu here. Seb, isn't it fair to blame Ben for Bitfarms since he kept saying 21 exahash? That I will give you that we could possibly blame on that. Still in play right until the end of last year. Bitfarms is only 50% shorted, but investors were disappointed by CEO. Yeah, I would say that's fair, right? Because he did keep on saying that 21 exahash by the end of the year. Then they pushed it off to the beginning or the end of first half of this year, and then they actually lowered it to 18. So yeah, you can blame him on that. I think that's fair, right? But was that based? Let's see. Maybe I'd give him some blame on that. I wouldn't give him all blame on that. See, the post-halving has destroyed the BTC miners, especially Bitfarms. Yeah, Bitcoin has not played out the way it has in the past cycles. That's also got to be taken into consideration here. Let's see. Gary says, Cleanspark lost money mining in Q4. FSB was only the reason they were positive. They need FSB to save them again. At best, they could be improved to break even mining. Yeah, but the current way, we'll see what they get, right? They said that they could possibly, that they are looking to get, I think, a positive EPS. What does that mean? Are they up a penny? Maybe, without the FSB. So we'll have to look and see. Okay, Richard says, my understanding is the lawsuit pending against Bitfarms is due to alleged mispriced warrants from a couple years ago. Okay, I must have missed that one. Manu says, Ben is not so new. 8 months is a long time in this dynamic space. 8 months, okay. But yeah, but to right a ship, it takes a while, especially in their company and they're moving stuff around, repositioning to the United States. That's going to take time. So I don't think 8 months, let's give them, I would say give them 2 years, right? see how he does, righting the ship, and then see what the outcome is of that. But right now, I would give any new CEO basically 2 years to right the ship, especially in Bitcoin mining. It's tough as it is already. And the price is not out of his control. If it was one thing, if a Bitcoin price was going up and their stock was going down, okay, I would say, all right, something's not right here, right? Where everybody else was going up, but their stock is going down. I could see a point there, but everybody's going down. So should all the CEOs be let go because their stock isn't performing well? Well, why is the stock not performing well? It's because of Bitcoin. Okay. Does it make sense to offset losses with profits and then repurchase at the current price? So yeah, some people do that where they take losses on some things and take profits and reposition. So that is a strategy. That's what some people do use. That's completely up to you though. All right. I said Bitfarms in US is below $1 and Canadian around $1.20. Will it go to reverse split? No, they still have on the US on NASDAQ, you have 180 days to get back into compliance of being above $1. At that point, you can also extend it out, I think, another 90 days or another 180 days? I can't remember. But you have time after that. If they can't get it above that at that point, then I think they will be forced to do a reverse split in order to maintain compliance. Desmond says, Hive dilution is inevitable, ATM is inevitable, the only catalyst is BTC going up. It's kind of depressing. I have a huge position and a dividend stock makes more sense now. Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that, but maybe. Let's see, SH says, I've been watching your channel for a while and you can tell most of the investors here are rookies, don't know how to invest, you don't sell at the lows, perhaps it's an opportunity to buy here. I would agree with you, right? If I had the cash, I'd be buying right now. Yeah, I would agree. Okay, Tom has a question here. Isn't this time to get into the miners because I have been hearing my entire life about the rich get richer by getting in when everyone else panics and sells at the lows. So that's kind of the, what is that one? Oh gosh, what's his name? The guy that owns Berkshire Hathaway. You guys know what I mean talking about. But he always says, right, be greedy when others are fearful and be fearful when others are greedy, right? Same kind of principle here. People are very, very fearful here, so we should be more greedy on that one. Will the rotation to emerging markets affect Bitcoin miners? It's already affecting them. I think there's a lot of capital that's flowing out of the United States into like Europe, Asia even right now. And it's just because of the uncertainty in the markets or uncertainty with the tariffs in the United States. All right, your thoughts on our dilution news? Well, depending what they do with it, right? And when they basically use the ATM. Could they have waited to do the ATM when the price was maybe a little bit better? Maybe, but then again, they could also have something up their sleeve where they're trying to get something right now and they just see it as a good time to do it. So it could be that they want to buy more Bitcoin because Bitcoin price has been coming down. They were buying Bitcoin at a much higher price as well, around, what is it, 80-some thousand, I think, when they were buying it. So being where it's at now might make sense for them. But that's definitely going to have a little bit of an impact on the stock as well, the stock price at least. That's going to keep it kind of muted a little bit, I think, because of all the fears. Question, in the previous bull run, did we have any kind of uncertainty in the markets like now? Well, we did have other things. We had COVID. We had also, but that was just a money printer that was going up like crazy. Prior to that, 2017 cycle, I'm trying to think if there was anything that was out of the ordinary. I can't recall anything going that far back at least, but you know, Bitcoin went up like crazy in that year. It did pretty good also in 2021. Not as great as it did in 2017, but it did good. We had the FUD on the China banning Bitcoin. That kind of stopped our momentum in going up in price, but we did do a double top on it. We came down, went back up. This time around, we were high before, Bitcoin price was the all-time high before the halving event. That's never happened before. And then we did go up quite nicely here, but again, uncertainty came in and took out basically our feet for a while. We're still in correction with Bitcoin. I don't think it's bear market territory just yet, but it looks like a correction at least right now. That could change in the next several weeks, several months. If Bitcoin goes down, I would say more than 40%. At that point, I would start to worry that we are going into a bear market. Okay. HWR says institutions own 68% of miners' shares. Mara institutional ownership is almost 75%. There is no way institutions are planning on bag holding all these shares. No, they're probably shorting the shares on the opposite side of it. So they're making money on the downside, and then when they're happy and things have come down enough, they're going to pump them up when Bitcoin does go up. So they're making money on both ways, I believe. What is going on in Bitfarms right now? Market, right? They actually had a good Q4 numbers. They were positive on the EPS. For the full year, they were down, but at least they were making improvements there. So it's just the market. It's, everybody's coming down. Let's see, I don't know how to pronounce your name. I do apologize here. Hedges will continue to short Bitfarms heavily with its sub $1 share price. A reverse split will not save Bitfarms for long since its share price will continue to fall. Okay. All right. Does Riot have any cash to buy out Bitfarms? They might have some cash there, but I don't think they're going to be entertaining that. I think they are looking to build out HPC-AI, right? They have activist investors there that are pushing them in that direction. They've basically put a pause on any future growth. They have a little bit of growth left in Bitcoin mining, but not much. But yeah, so I don't see that happening. Gary has a question here. So if Q4 you added FSB, which made many miners profitable? Not really accurate if you just ignore FSB when it's negative, but count it when it's positive. I doubt the market does that. Wait, I'm trying to understand that question there. In Q4, you added FSB, which made many miners profitable. Not really accurate if you just ignore FSB, but count it when it's positive. But kind of, I'm not sure I get that. I doubt the market does that. I'm saying that this current quarter, the Q1 that we're in right now, if take out the FSB for all these guys here, I think the only one that's going to be possibly positive is going to be IREN, and then maybe second might be Cleanspark, only because they've stated they should be positive. So we shall see. Andrea, thank you so much. Yeah, Warren Buffett. Yeah, Warren Buffett. John, also thank you. Let's see, are you still in Bitfarms? Yeah, I still have about 8,000 shares there as well. Let's see, it said, what catalyst can make Bitcoin go up again? I saw a lot of YouTubers giving very big prediction, but what's happening is the reverse. Even Trump announcing Bitcoin reserve still not going up. Well, they're working towards the Bitcoin reserve there. I think we need to have like a notice of maybe a state finally buying it, right? At least one. Then you get another one on top of it. Maybe hear of another country putting it on Bitcoin reserve as well. It's just, there's just so much happening here, right? We got GameStop buying Bitcoin out, put it on their reserve. So it's just baby steps, right? But those baby steps will then turn into toddler steps, and toddler steps turn into kid steps, and then adult steps, right? We're going to get these things that are moving in the right direction. Adoption is going to continue to happen. It's going to even get faster, I think, as time goes on. So I think that's what's going to propel Bitcoin going up. It says, Seb, can you see, did miners dip when COVID news broke out? Yeah, I mean, Bitcoin dipped, miners dipped, everything dipped at that point. Markets dipped as well. Jordan says, something in this chart is sad. It is. I mean, we're down 70% on some of these guys, even more than that. So, yeah, it's to be expected here. All right. BTC miners are not the same post-halving, post-ETFs and other BTC alternatives. Yeah, it's different. I will agree with you there. Definitely. All right. Dave says, Seb, every after halving, usually Bitcoin goes up after 8 months. Now it's almost a year, but it goes down instead. Will the 4-year pattern of Bitcoin no longer exist? Possibly. That's why I keep saying we might be in an extended cycle here. But we're still up from where we were pre-halving, right? So Bitcoin got to 73,000 at that point. We're still up above that. We're at 84,000 right now. But you're right. Historically, Bitcoin has pumped about 8 months after the halving. After that, We do have a lot more institutions in here now. We have the ETFs, right? We got everything else, all that stuff going on. We got MicroStrategy. There's many, many different ways to play Bitcoin and everything else. But yeah, it's definitely different, but I still think that we're going to have a maybe nice second half of the year, potentially. Okay. Manu says Cleanspark institutional ownership, 495 total, 466 long, only 10 short, 19 long short. So most institutions are not shorting Cleanspark per Fintel. Okay, so that's institution. So it could be others. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, question IREN at 15. Bitcoin goes to 200,000, 250,000. I definitely think it can get there and then some. All right. Can you see on your charts when COVID news broke out and how did the miners go? We can definitely take a look at it. Let's see. Let me go over here. When was this COVID? 2020, I think, is when it happened, right? We're going back a few years here on it. Let's go to the weekly chart on it. We're on MicroStrategy here. This would have been, let me see here. Bitcoin can probably see it pretty good on Bitcoin here. This was, where are we at here? 2020? Was it right around January here? This dump that we had over here? We could probably see that on the Dow Jones as well. Probably. There we go. I think this is COVID, yeah. February, January, right around here is when we had the COVID dip, right? So that was a dip of 38% on the Dow Jones, right, back then. So if we look at Bitcoin, that would have been, Bitcoin would have been, let's see, December, January, February. That's January. So that one was going down in 21st. Wait a minute. Is that 2020? 2020. Okay, so I'm looking at the wrong one. Let's see here. Where's it at? Bitcoin. There it is. 2020. So we had a dip. There it is. Right there. February. There's that dip right before the halving event. So Bitcoin definitely did dip around there. Let's see. How much did we dip on it? We dipped basically from right about there. We went, oh, geez, I can't see that. We went down about 63% on it at that point, right, when that happened. So that's the time frame we're looking at. Miners, as we're going into the halving event, the miners were going down anyways back then in 2020. How much of an impact that had on it, on them, May 2020, January. Yeah, I mean, they came down also here. You can see that on it. Bitfarms came down. BitDeer wasn't even trading then. Cypher wasn't even trading then. Cleanspark was trading at that point. And then we're going into 2020 here. There was a dip here on this one as well. Let's see if I can zoom this in a little bit better to get an idea. February, right there. There's that dip. That one was down. I mean, just from there, it was down 80% in a couple of weeks, right? So they definitely took a big, big hit right there. And I would imagine it's going to be the same thing for like Mara. Mara had a huge run up here, but 2020, where's March, right there. Let me see if we can make it so it works a little bit better here. Get rid of that one. I wish that would reset itself. There we go. Okay, so there's February. How much did that one go down? From right around here, let's just say, and going down all the way, yeah, it's down 70-some%. Yeah, so we had a sizable dip on these guys during COVID. And then things bounced back and we went up higher. Kind of similar to what we're seeing here right now with, I mean, miners are all down like 70%, but it's been a lot longer time frame than just a couple of weeks. These guys have been going down right now, oh gosh, for like 3 months. It's just been brutal, right? So, I mean, we're down 60% of Mara as it is right now from the peak here, but it's taken us a while since. When did that take us? Well, this should have been from here. So from basically November, December timeframe on down, it's been rough. We had a nice pump when Trump was elected, but man, after that, everything's been coming down. Let's see if there's any questions here. Right. Gary's got a question here. Not sure if Cleanspark loses 10,000 on a coin on FSB, they will need to cut their mining expenses in half from Q4 to turn a profit after FSB loss. Perhaps my math is wrong. Well, they also have more hash rate. That should help out there with it. But yeah, 10,000 per coin is going to be rough. Not only for them, it's going to be rough for Mara, it's going to be rough for anybody that has a hodl position right now. Cleanspark's got what, like 11,000 Bitcoin? That's, what is that? That's going to be, let's do the math here. They got about 11,000 Bitcoin times 10,000. You're looking at 10,000, $111 million basically write down on paper at least. So not going to be good. All right. Seb, which miner is most undervalued right now in your opinion? Well, for that, I would look at the enterprise value for exahash on these guys. And where's that at? Here it is. So let's take a look at that. So based on today, where things are at right now, I would say Hive looks like the most, right? But Hive, if you look at their break-even number, it's pretty high, right? So that's maybe why it's not performing as well. Followed by, next would be Bitfarms, right? And then Cypher. Well, it's market cap. Why am I looking at market cap? Enterprise. There it is. Hive. Here it is. Hive, right? Only a 6 million valuation per exahash future. Bitfarms 23 million. IREN 24. That's also pretty low. Very, very low compared to when you look at break-even numbers are really good here. They should be valued much higher than where they are. Then you got Cleanspark in there as well. Riot, okay, Marathon. Those are the ones I would say are the most undervalued right now in that order, more or less. All right, okay, let's go back here. Let's see, Andrea, yeah, March 2020, COVID-19. That was a fun time, wasn't it? Okay. Okay. It says Bitfarms is not into the AI business currently. Will they be still inflicted with Bitcoin price if it rockets? They should, because their revenue is going to be going up. They are going to be doing much better, and their profit margins are going to be up. So they should at that point. All right, Dave's got a question coming here. If Bitfarms HPC is a catalyst, if implemented, I have 6,000 to put on my DFSA, but I don't know what catalyst Bitfarms need for the stock price to go up. I'm still on the waiting mood. When is the best time to buy Bitfarms? I mean, that's your call there. I would see dollar cost average into it. The big catalyst for them is going to be Bitcoin going up, and then if they can get a deal with somebody for their HPCI business, but that's still going to be out a ways, right? So I think the biggest catalyst for them is going to be just Bitcoin going up and them executing on, or at least providing something of an HPCI deal, because that's not going to be until 2026, possibly at the, I would say best time frame would be 2026, but possibly not until 2027 still. All right, Bethany says, I still think the miners can 2 to 3x from current prices if Bitcoin goes to 150,000. I would think so too, right? I think they can still go from these prices for sure. All right, who is going to want to work with Bitfarms for AI HPC? I mean, somebody's going to want to work out there with them, possibly, but there's a lot of competition out there. Riot, IREN, Cypher, right? All of these guys are trying to get customers there. So maybe they can go for some of the smaller customers, similar to what Wolf did or what BitDigital is doing. Maybe they can do something like that. You know, it's a tough space out there. And then aren't their sites too small? The sites are not too small. It's just they need to build out the megawatts, which they do have a pipeline for potentially there to get to 1.4 gigawatts. So they do have the ability there, but it's going to take time. I mean, they're talking about 1.4 gigawatts being by the end of 2028, I believe. So next 3 years, they're going to be building it out. All right, Seb, CoinGlass chart is showing there is 40,000 Bitcoin less in exchanges. Still, price is dropping. Do you think it's really manipulating us? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep. It's got to be, right? With everything that we're seeing here, the supply is decreasing, but people are, more and more people are buying, corporations are buying it. It's like, where are they getting it from? It's got to be some manipulation happening there, or some good deals happening for sure. Okay. So do you still think the miners can top? It's making it harder and harder to think that they will by every day that goes by. right? They're not doing the way that they acted at least last cycle. They're being kept down more. They're being shorted more. It's really, really tough. Unless Bitcoin does really rally really good here. The only way I could see them getting to the previous all-time highs would be if Bitcoin gets closer to like maybe 250, 300,000 at this point, maybe. But even then, I just don't know. But I'd be happy if they get at least halfway to that. Right now, I'm sure a lot of you guys would be too. Let's see, a question someone said earlier, the institutions are not going to be bag holders on the miners. They must know something. They keep buying more. Am I right about that? I keep seeing the same thing, right? The institutions are buying like crazy. It's like, what do they know that we don't know? So, I mean, then there's quite a few institutions buying into them. So I'm likely to believe that they will want to run these things up eventually. It's just when. We'll see. Question, the miners are underperforming BTC in perpetuity, it seems. Don't you think that will continue even if BTC hits 200,000? There's a possibility of that, right? The miners didn't do basically jack when Bitcoin went from, what was it, some 40-some thousand, 200,000 last year. They went up just a little bit here. The miners that were talking about HPC AI, those guys took off, but the rest of the miners that were just concentrating on Bitcoin mining, not so much. So that is a possibility there. But I think as once we get past a certain point, I think whatever that point's going to be, whether it's 125,000, 150,000, the revenues and the profitability on those guys is going to be huge. It's going to be outrageous. And especially as it goes up even further from that. So I would think that would be the catalyst, but I could be wrong, right? Okay, covered that one. Let's see. Okay, here we go. What is the 180 days you mentioned about Bitfarms? That was if Bitfarms, because Bitfarms stock prices right now is under $1 on the NASDAQ. In order to maintain compliance with NASDAQ regulations, rules, whatever it might be, they have to maintain $1, right? So they have 180 days to get their stock back above the dollar price at that point, right? So, and then even then they can ask for an extension. I can't remember if it's 90 days or another 180 days, but they have that extension that they can use to get the price above that. If they can't, then they may be forced to use the reverse split to get the, less shares means stock price goes up because of that. It's artificial, right? So you have less shares outstanding, but the price. So if you do like a 10-to-1 split, let's say the stock is at 50 cents, well then it's going to be basically worth 50 or $5, but you're going to have roughly 1/10 the number of shares out there. So you're going to have, instead of having 500,000 shares, you might have 50 million shares, right? My math is correct on that one. That's the way it would work out. SH says the market is currently valuing Bitfarms mining operations approximately 25 million per deployed exahash, which Colonies considers a significant and under warranted discount compared to larger peers. I would agree. Jordan says, here's the thing with the 2 to 3x hopes, the lower it goes, the more you need to break even. Yes, that is true. So if you brought into these guys much higher prices, then yeah, you're going to need like a 3 to 5x. All right. Have you seen the M2 liquidity chart with 10-week lag with BTC? I have not. That one would be kind of interesting to take a look at. Question, CoinGlass chart showing in the last 10 days. Already covered that one. Okay. What is your line in the sand for the existing miners this cycle? Miners versus BTC pairing making all-time lows, missed the boat, or there's a signal you're waiting for to say enough is enough. The signal I'm waiting for is if Bitcoin goes below a certain point, right? Bitcoin goes, I would say probably below 69,000, 65,000, somewhere around there, and it's down 40 somewhat percent. That would be, okay, we're in a bear market. I don't know if we're gonna be able to get out of this. Historically, Bitcoin has never gone that low in a bull run. It's gone 35, 38%. But when we get past 40%, that's when I start to get worried. Right now, we've only come down 30%. We're at 25, 26% right now, just being down from the top. So that's not bad. We're still in that kind of correction phase, at least the way I see it. But if it goes below that, then we're going to be maybe in trouble. Okay. Gary asks or says, are miners getting close to a price you could sell for land and parts for same market cap? Oh, you're talking about like enterprise value or just what they actually own. Let me see if I thought I had that data. Let me take a look. Enterprise market cap here. Let me see. Okay, this might be updated here. I'm not sure. Let me see. Stock prices are in here. Okay, let's take a look at this. So yeah, stock prices are as of today on this one. This one's got the same one. Okay, so maybe this will work. Okay, so market cap minus enterprise value equals the difference. Mara is still, okay. Mara, okay, so enterprise value is when we take out market cap plus debt minus cash minus HODL. That's how I'm calculating that one. So if we look at it that way, not including HODL position, IREN is undervalued, right? 53 million. By 53 million, it's basically under. Core, 1.4 million. BitDeer, just a little bit here, 0.23 based on that. Cypher is actually above a little bit, 8.74 million. Bitfarms, 64. Hive, 172 million. Cleanspark, 226. Hut, 485 million. Riot, 1.1 billion. Mara, 1.4 billion, it looks like. But when you just do enterprise plus HODL, well, the Mara looks like it's the most undervalued, right? 200 or 2.4 billion right now. Cleanspark, 714 million. Riot, 416. Hut, 376 million. BitDeer, I mean, they're all pretty much underwater at that point, right? They're not being valued properly. But some of these guys more so than others, if you want to look at it that way. Right? So we do have that data as well. Right. C80, as always, thank you so much. Definitely likes to help the channel. Jordan says miners will not hit their 2021 highs. Dilution has been too much. Dilution has been much, but they have also grown more. They have a lot more hash rate. They're actually generating more revenue than they did in 2021, surprisingly enough. And a lot of these guys are getting to scale, so which definitely helps with the other costs, SG&A, other things. What happens if the U.S. government gets into mining? They're not going to get into mining. They'd be better off just buying Bitcoin. It's a tough space to get into. You need megawatts. Megawatts are not readily available unless you become a dictatorship and you take over private sector companies. And okay, then at that point they could do it, but I don't see that happening. All right, is the Bitcoin ETF much better to buy than miners? Well, we'll have to wait and see at the end of this cycle. Last cycle, I would say no. This cycle, it's kind of even right now as far as where my thoughts are on it. So we'll have to wait and see. I'm not sure. We're not done with the cycle yet, unfortunately. I wish we were done with the cycle. I wish we were at the end of it already and we're doing all very well. Let's see. Bethany says miners won't run until tariff. I tend to agree with you there, unfortunately. I also think the same thing. Will the miners still see a parabolic run like Riot, Mara during COVID from a few cents to 70, 80 plus dollars? Yeah, it's going to be tough for them to do that. A couple of reasons. One, they're not acting like they did last cycle, for the most part at least. There's a lot more institutions playing in the space. There's a lot more shorting going on. And also they've also diluted quite a bit, right? But they've also grown. Mara has definitely grown a lot. Riot to Cleanspark and all those. But from where they are right now, Bitcoin would need to go basically, I would think, like to 300,000 in order for those guys to possibly get close to that again. Do you think the Bitcoin ETF's approval impacted miners' demand inversely? Possibly. Right. Again, I need to see what the cycle ends at. Right now, it kind of looks like it. I'll be honest with you guys. Looks like the ETFs did have a overall impact, not on just miners, but Bitcoin as well. Bitcoin, like I said before, peaked before the halving event, which never happened before. And then we had a run up, but it's been a different run where we had expanded time frames where Bitcoin was just kind of going down and sideways for a while before it went down 30, 34%, whatever it is, and finally went back up. But it's much longer time frames than we've seen in the prior cycles, where before it was Bitcoin just goes up, we'd have a quick correction down 30, 34%, 38% within basically like a week or two. Sometimes it was even within days, and then we would bounce off of that. Now it's several months of a correction, so it is definitely different. Do you have any faith in the theory that Bitcoin always rises 75 or 105 days after M2 starts rising? I have not looked too deeply into that, so I don't know. Is that what some are saying also on it? The M2, I do have the M2 here, and the M2 is rising. Let me see, where is it at? Get rid of that. Okay, this is on the weekly. Here's the M2, right? So if we look at that, the blue line is the M2, right? The M2 is rising. We'll see what it comes in at for March. We're at February here. So we'll see what happens on that one. But that's the M2 supply. So it's, yeah, it was coming down, but it is rising. So with it rising, you would think that Bitcoin also would be rising, right? If that's the case theory there for it. But there's other things in play here as well. All right. Do you think after the Liberation Day of US on April 2nd, Bitcoin will start to go up? If we have concrete, definitive, lasting numbers for tariffs and they stay that way, they don't go back and forth, then maybe. Maybe that would be the day. But if we have uncertainty, no. Andrea, thank you. Yeah. Thank you. What else? Okay, if Cleanspark ends up going to $5, then 2 to 3x will only be 10 to 15. All these worrisome days just to go into that price. Wish I paper-handed these miners, round-tripped all the profit, and now in the deep red. Yeah, you're gonna need more than that, right? So that's why, and the miners might do actually better than that going forward. Right, I'm just saying conservatively looking at things, for saying 2 to 3x. If Bitcoin goes to 150,000, 200,000, but it could go up higher. Miners could go up higher at that point as well. It'll just depend on the miners, how well they do, how well they grow. All that stuff goes into it. Tom Harrison has a question here. Trump had everything on platter for himself when he became president. We were mostly on his side, but messed everything up with his tariffs BS. Economists on the left and right know this. Yeah, that is yet to be seen, but I'm kind of with you on that as well. I mean, his big thing when he was running was, right, prices are too high, he's going to bring down prices, and day one, he's going to bring down prices. We're not really seeing prices come down. We're seeing prices go up on some things. Yeah. Well, I'll give him a little bit more time, see if he works things out. Okay. Dave says, thank you for answering my question. Seb, I appreciate it a lot. You're very welcome. Thank you so much for coming in. Really appreciate you coming in here. All right. Can IREN freeze their ATM and AI HPC goals if stock price stays low? They are mining profitably. Why continue diluting a low stock price when they could stop and just mine until the economy improves? I'm with you on that. I agree. I don't know if they're currently using the ATM. They definitely have the potential to do it later on. They, like you said, they're profitable. They're mining. They have some money left over from the convertible notes as well. So they may not be diluting right now. Right, wouldn't make much sense unless they would think that Bitcoin's going down and they're trying to get as much out of it as they can. I don't know. Okay, Tom says, question, tariffs are so stupid it is the equivalent of you beating your dog, so I am going to beat my dog to match your stupidity. I mean, that's one way to kind of symbolize it. All right. What happened to the 12 billion center for Hut 8? I think they're still working on it. They got approval from the city there, or the province. It's just getting it built out. All right. Seb, how tariff can affect Bitcoin price? Well, it makes everything else more expensive, meaning that people are less likely to buy Bitcoin because of inflation. And that's kind of why. All right. Let's see. Andrea here. Do you think if Trump didn't endorse Bitcoin and they still did this Doge, that Bitcoin would be anywhere near 80,000? I think Bitcoin would be back to 30,000 right now without that endorsement. Maybe, right? Maybe that was just a little gap stop there. What are your thoughts on Coreweave IPO, future impact on CORZ? Well, they have the deal there. The deal is done for, right? Coreweave actually just did a deal with Galaxy Digital for $4.5 billion for 12 years, I think it was, on that. So it shouldn't impact CORZ unless CORZ is able to get more business out of it. So that would be a good thing. Okay, let's see. How much of your inner self says in terms of percentage that even with BTC rising, these miners may not run at all? They are doing even worse, some high cap altcoins. it's a very small percentage of myself that would think that that's going to be the case. Because we have seen these guys run like crazy when the time is right. So I still think that they're going to run. It's just we need Bitcoin to go up 150,000, 200,000, whatever it might be. If that doesn't happen, then yeah, the miners are not running. Mind you says torches and pitchforks for Zeb on red days. What are you guys going to give me on green days? All right, but we're going to call it a day. Gosh, we're going on an hour and 15. So this is definitely one of the longer ones we've done here in quite a while. A lot of stuff happening here. It's kind of fun on a Friday. But I'm going to call it. Let's see. What else do we have here? Okay. HWR says, kind of funny that BTC is up 6x from its cycle low, but miners are barely 3 to 4x after the recent bloodbath. Actually, yeah, some of them, yeah, I would agree. Some of them have actually done better. CORZ has done better, but others have maybe not. There's others that have done, MicroStrategy has done better as well. But yeah, we'll take a look at that maybe on Sunday's video, comparing from the lows of the cycle to where they are right now and how that stacks up. And that's actually a pretty good idea. So appreciate that insight and suggestion there. All right, but we're going to call it a day. It's late. Going to go watch a movie or something like that. Enjoy, at least. Going to try to relax a little bit. It's definitely been stressful, I'm sure, for you guys as well. So go out there, enjoy, have maybe an adult beverage, not too much, and enjoy it. Enjoy the weekend. It's supposed to be nice where I'm at. I'm going to go outside and touch the grass over the weekend. So I hope you guys do the same. But again, thank you, as always, for coming in, chatting with me, asking the questions. It's always fun. It's always interesting. You guys make me think. I love it. Love you guys. We'll see you guys on Sunday. We'll get back into the swing of things. But otherwise, have a great weekend. Until then.